All right, excellent. So with that, I have turned on the recording and I would like to just officially welcome each and every one of you to the AMCSI virtual conference. My name is Jean Ballant and I'll be serving as a technical moderator in the background as a volunteer with AMCSI. In just a moment, I will turn it over to your facilitator to officially begin the session today, but I did want to walk through just a few ground rules before we get started today. So our session is going to be hosted live on Zoom and Facebook, and you can attend on any device that you like that has internet, but for those of you who cannot use the Zoom app or do not use Facebook, you can also simply call in to listen by phone. I will remind everybody that everyone will be muted and we ask that you stay muted to prevent any background noises or other audio disruptions. Now that we're officially getting started with this session today, I'm going to go ahead and admit a few other people here, and I'm going to go ahead and lock that meeting chat down so that you're only able to send direct messages to me, the technical moderator. So I'll remind everyone that you can use the meeting chat in Zoom or comment on our live streams if you have questions or comments for our speakers today, and we will relay those over to the session moderator. So just to be sure that everyone can see those tools, I'd ask you all, if you're joining us, please take a moment to look for the chat button and go ahead and send in a quick message and say hello. Remember, you're going to want to send a message to the technical moderator, Jean, and I love to see messages from people saying hello. And I will keep talking like this until I see a few hello messages come in. Oh, there they are. Look at all of you. We have people from Italy, from South America, from all over the United States. Oh, this is fun. This is excellent. I am so glad and happy to see all of you chiming in. It's great to have you all here with us. So while you can send in questions and comments or report technical issues using that chat, and yes, our friends from Canada, I know you're out there too. Thanks for joining us. We will simply ask that everybody keep this session respectful, as we'll have a wide variety of ages joining us on our session today. Our session is being recorded and we'll be posting it on the AMCSI website shortly after the conference. And just a quick reminder, although I'm sure you've seen Zoom before, if you're using Zoom on a computer, you should see a control panel along the bottom portion of your screen. You'll find audio controls in the lower left. You'll be able to see videos or slides in the main portion. You'll also see additional controls to see who's joining us, open up the meeting chat. And then, as I said, you can use that to send in your questions and comments privately at any time. All right, and then I will also remind everybody that you'll see information about our speakers either along the top or the side, but there are other controls in Zoom that allow you to make things bigger or smaller or rearrange it to best fit your particular screen. For my friends who are participating on a mobile device, you have many of the same controls, but they're situated a little bit differently on your screen. You'll probably see the chat button and mic and camera icons, but to find some of the other buttons like the chat, you'll need to look for a 3 dots or more menu button at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so quickly going through those. I think that's the end of the technical reminders. And if I can get some chats in, are you all ready to get started? If you're on camera, you can smile. Otherwise, give me a big yes in the meeting chat. I want to see a bunch of, oh, yes, with 10 S's. We have got some excited people here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is fabulous. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight our session facilitator and turn it over to Melissa Snyder to get started. Melissa.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Jean, for that excited introduction. You always have so much energy, and I love feeding off of that. And I'm really, really pumped to be here and be your facilitator / moderator for today. So welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have each and every one of you here today online for our 16th annual conference. While we may be hosting this year's event virtually, we know that we are together in heart, even when apart. My name is Melissa Snyder, like I said, and I'll be serving as your moderator for our session. I serve as our Board of Directors interim president with AMCSI, and I think we can go to the next slide and get started. All right. So, our virtual conference will run each evening from July 18th to the 24th. Each virtual session will include 2 different presentations by medical or other professionals working with individuals with AMC. Registration is required, but free and open to anyone who wishes to attend. AMCSI will also live stream portions of the event online, but to ensure that you can attend and interact with speakers, we encourage you to register and join us live in Zoom. Next slide, please. All right. Oh, I think we skipped one. Can you go back one? I'm so sorry. All right. Remember that we will announce the location of our 2022 annual conference on the last day of this week's virtual session. You definitely don't want to miss that. I know everybody's super excited to find out where we're going. All right, next slide. So here is a quick overview of our agenda for the evening. We'll start with the annual AMCSI Board of Directors meeting. Immediately after that presentation, we'll have a quick Q&A segment. Please note that we encourage you to send questions and comments into the chat window to our technical moderator, Jean, so we can address as many as possible during our Q&A break. Later, we'll come to our second speaker, Charles Withers, who will present on looking forward for AMCSI. Again, we'll follow that by a quick Q&A segment and before wrapping up for the night. All right, next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so the virtual conference is organized and sponsored by AMCSI. AMCSI is a nationally recognized 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to provide and encourage more understanding and mutual support among anyone affected with the diagnosis of arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, AMC, as well as to create a higher standard of AMC awareness by means of conferences, meetings, and studies. Next slide, please. AMCSI would not be here without the generous support from people like you guys. There are many ways to donate or support AMCSI, including while shopping on Amazon or eBay. Who shops on Amazon or eBay? Everyone, right? So make sure that you connect to our organization on those websites when you're doing your shopping. Next slide, please. All right, so before we go any further, we would love to learn a little bit about those of you joining us online tonight. So please answer the 2 poll questions that just popped up on your screen.
Okay. Okay, so for those of you that may be new to the world of Zoom polling, there's a new floating window that has 2 questions asking where you're joining from and why you are joining today. The where you're joining from question, you can only pick one answer, but you can pick multiple answers for why you're joining. And what I'm secretly doing right now is buying time for more of you to respond to that poll question. We've got about 65% of you have responded. And in just a moment, I'll close that poll down so that we can take a look and you all can learn a little bit about those joining the virtual session today. So I'm starting to see some competition and I see the comments from my international attendees. Yes, I know that you wish for each of your countries to be listed, but unfortunately, I can't put that many options in a Zoom poll. So we grouped you all together. I apologize, but we know you're there. We know that. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and close this down and let's take a look at those results. So Melissa, it looks like about 1/3 of our audience is coming in from the Southeast US, but we have some strong representation across the rest of the country and a very large international attendance today, which is great to see. And it also does seem like about 60% of the audience is here because they have a child with AMC, but we also have a lot of adults or individuals themselves with AMC. And then again, just people who are here because they're curious to learn more, or they may either love or care for someone with AMC. So that's great to know. Awesome.
This is great. We're so excited to have all of you joining us online. So now we're going to go to our first speaker, which is the AMCSI Board of Directors meeting. So today, on July 18th at 6:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'd like to call to order our annual Board of Directors meeting. And I'm just gonna, I guess we can go just from right to left, top to bottom. If we want to unpause and introduce ourselves, that would be wonderful. Ani?
There we go. Hey everyone, my name is Ani Samarjan. I am the founder of AMCSI. I saw a chat ask what the CSI stood for, but it's basically Arthrogryposis Multiplex Congenita Support Incorporated. So it's a big, long name, but the diagnosis is just Arthrogryposis Multiplex Congenita. We are just the nonprofit supporting families with AMC. And I am mom to an 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old with arthrogryposis, and I have 3 other children, and I live in South Carolina with my mom and my husband and our 4 kids and lots of animals.
Awesome. Well, I've already kind of introduced myself, but I'll go really quickly again. My name is Melissa Snyder. I have AMC and I serve as the interim president of the board of directors. And I live also in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, with my 2 dogs, Gibbs and Luke.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joey. I currently serve as vice president of the board of directors. I have a 6-year-old son with AMC, have been involved with the board of directors for about 5 years now, first serving in the role of secretary and then transitioning in the last 2 years, I want to say, into my current role. And so happy to have all of you here and excited for the next couple of minutes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Paradise. I currently serve as the interim treasurer for the AMCSI Board of Directors. I have a 7-year-old daughter who has AMC. Her name is Dylan. I have 1 other child as well, and we live in Minnesota. And I've been with the board for 2 years now.
I'll go next. My name is Alexis Record, and I keep the records for AMCSI as the secretary on the executive board of directors. And I have 2 kids with AMC. One is Lelia, and the other one is Roland. They are 13 and 10, and we live in California.
And that puts me up next. I'm Harold Fombolsa. I'm a pediatric orthopedist who got involved with AMCSI starting with their 2nd annual meeting. And down the road, they invited me to become part of the board. I work at the Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia, and a large part of my practice is children with arthrogryposis. And it's been a great journey. Now I'm actually, having done this for more than about 18 years or so, I'm actually getting to watch some of the kids who I first treated as babies be full-grown adults. So it's been very rewarding.
And I'm Michelle Schaefer, and I am the Vice President of Programming. So my job is basically to help plan the annual conferences with my amazing team that we affectionately call the Loon Crew. I have a 21-year-old son with arthrogryposis, as well as 3 other almost grown children. And I've been with Ani from way back at the very beginning. So I'm excited to have you all here, and I can't wait until we hopefully are all together again next year in person.
All right, so this is up. I'm up next here. We're gonna run through our financials quick and then bring to a vote on approving the May. What you see up here right now is our current financial position at the end of May of this year. Our total assets were just over $657,000. We do have 3 deposits that are being held aside for future conferences, as you can see, for the 2022, 23, and 25 location. Next slide. This slide outlines some of the liabilities. We do hold aside several funds to support the grants that we offer within AMCSI. So those come to almost 31,000. So our current unrestricted assets at the end of May was 626,517. Next slide, please. And this shows both our income and our operating expenses, and this would be 2021 year to date, so through the end of May. As you can see, our income is just over 40,000. That is up 13,000 since our April financials, but it is down overall from last year. From donations individually about 10,000, and our membership down about 13,000 year over year. Our operating expenses on the right are right on to meet our annual track for our budget, so no concerns there. We are operating at a loss at this point for year to date, but again, that is more connected to a decline in donations and our membership dues.
I would like to officially call for a vote to approve the financials. I'm gonna make a motion.
I'll second it.
Yep, approve.
All right, thank you.
All right, so next, just to talk a little bit more about that membership, what that's looked like for AMCSI. We have seen a decline again this year. Last year, from 2019 to 2020, we saw a decline of about 100 members between those 2 years. And then from 2020 to this year's public meeting, we've gone down about 150 membership. So our current 2021 membership was at 88. We are officially going to open up our membership drive now for 2022. The link's here, but you'll receive a link as well to go ahead and sign up on the Eventbrite for 2022's registration. And for this week, we're actually going to have some money off and do a week-long membership drive. So the next slide will show a little bit about the costs if you're not familiar with our membership levels. We do offer an individual annual membership that's $15. It'll be $5 off for the first week here for the drive. That's for adults 18 and older and would provide 1 vote. And you're also eligible to serve on our board of directors. The annual family membership is $25. That will also be $5 off for our membership drive. That includes 2 adults and then any children under the age of 18. And will provide 2 votes and then again eligibility to hold a spot on the board of directors. If you're interested in combining your membership with a donation, we do offer a personal or family annual that's $75. So it provides the same as above, but would also include a donation on top of that. And then we do have individual and family memberships as well. So the individual or lifetime memberships, the individual would be $600 and then the lifetime would be $800. And depending which one is chosen, you'd get 1 or 2 votes and again, eligibility to serve on our board. All right, next slide, please. Oh, there it is. So again, if you're not familiar, this just outlines a few of our benefits and you can find a lot more listed on our website. But some of the benefits of becoming a member, you do receive a discount on our annual conference. So again, hoping we can get in person next year, and then the membership would allow a discount, access to our public meetings, as well as access to our monthly board of director meeting minutes. As I mentioned, you have access to voting rights as things come to our membership. We do have various needs throughout the year for volunteer positions or different board committee members that may be offered. So you would have access to that. And then you'll hear a little bit more from Alexis later, but we do offer several grants that are also an option for our membership. And then again, just a few bullet points of some of the things the funds go to. They do help with some of our pamphlets that we create for medical professionals and NICUs. They help with our Awareness Day campaigns, and then the Awareness Day on June 30th. They help us keep our resources and website up to date. And then again, to host some of our annual conference and some of our meetings.
Hi, I just wanted to give a little bit of an update regarding our annual conference. It's been a rough couple of years for all of us, and a little extra hard on my planning team, because conference is something that all of us on the planning team value a lot. And these people who help plan donate so much time to make this happen. So obviously, with the current state of the pandemic, we had to cancel our conference last year, and we had to cancel our conference this year in person. So we have our virtual conference, which is great, but it's not quite the same. AMCSI was very, very lucky in the fact that we have signed contracts out through 2025. And with those signed contracts come penalties if you cancel the event close to the date. Therefore, with 2020, we could have had a really big hit in penalties. However, the hotel very graciously worked with us with the help of our Helms-Briscoe representative. And our penalty for canceling within a few months of the event was only $5,000. So we were very, very lucky with that. Our 2021 conference in Atlanta, we did not incur any penalties for that cancellation because, and it'll give you a hint, we agreed to rebook with the property in the future. So at some point in the next few years, we will be going to Atlanta. And it was just a great way for the hotel to work with us to avoid any penalties and costs for not holding the event this year. The one thing that's happened with that is we've been trying very hard to visit around the country. So if you divide the country in four, to try and get to as many geographic regions as we can. Because of the cancellations and because of contracts that were signed before the pandemic hit, that rotation is a little bit out of whack. We're working really hard to get back on there. And by 2026, we hope to be back on track with hitting the different regions within the country. So please bear with us for the next few years. We're working on it. We try very hard to get to as many people as we can. None of us could have expected the last 2 years. So the one thing I want to remind you, and I think Melissa already said that, is next Saturday on July 24th, we will be announcing our location for next year. And as things are looking right now, we're still all steam ahead and we plan on seeing everybody in person. So come join us next Saturday night for a little bit of excitement, and we can't wait to share with you where we will be visiting. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I am so excited about that. I'm also really excited about our grants and scholarships. As Jenny mentioned, we haven't had as many donations, and so many of our meetings just were repeating, what's our mission? Follow the mission, get to the mission, which is supporting our families. And we are still offering grants and scholarships, and we have made that a priority, that any funds coming in go to these things. The research fund is for our professional AMC related research, and it requires a letter of intent, projective narrative, biosketch, and budget plan. This isn't a layman's like, oh, I wonder how many people have AMC. This is for those answers we need. Our adoption grant it was adult adoptee informed, and it is for covering fees for AMCers that are in a position where they need to be in a permanent placement, and it's for like the very last option is adoption, but it is something that some people desperately need, and we will get to one of our examples of that in a moment. Our hardship grant, which was originally the COVID-19 grant, helped some people going through hospitalizations back when COVID was a lot more scary than it is now. Thankfully, we are getting fewer and fewer requests for help. I'm in the hospital, and we've been able to move those funds into our medical travel grants more and more, as those are the ones that people are getting to travel again and they need surgeries, and their hospital or their doctor is a little too far from their home. We also have our college scholarship, which is a 2-semester scholarship that requires an essay in order to apply. And I am really proud to introduce you to Hallia, who submitted the following essay she's going to read for us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed, let me put Hallia on hold just for a second. I'm sorry, Jean. Let's do the Lemon family in slide order. That's on me. The Lemon family was our adoption grant recipient. Their family already was the Kalen's family, who has AMC. He's 3 years old. And he got 2 brothers. How long ago? A week ago. Yuri, who also has AMC, and Boda. So 3 3-year-olds at home now. And Yuri has just started walking. So that's this video.
Are you stuck? There you go. Oh, you're gonna get me. You're going so fast. You little.
I'm sorry, I love that so much because, you know, they just had all that durable medical equipment on hand from their other kid, and they're just like, here you go. And that's so much freedom for someone who didn't have access to that before. So adorable. All right, and then I do apologize, Hallia, I'm sorry about that. I went out of order, but she submitted an essay to the College Scholarship Committee that they loved so much. They requested that she read it to all of you. So I'm sorry, reintroducing Hallia.
Hi. Okay, I'll read my essay. Impossible. The number of times I've heard this word in my life is uncountable. It began at birth when doctors told my parents it would be impossible for me to ever walk. I was born with a condition called arthrogryposis, a physical disability restricting the range of motion and muscle power in my lower extremities. However, from a young age, I never let my life be a chain of impossibilities. At 3 years old, I walked for the first time with leg braces and a walker. As a child, I yearned to be normal and as physically able as other children. Kids would stare at me for the way I walked or whisper to their friends when I rode by. It seemed impossible to fit in with kids who didn't understand my condition. However, sports allowed me to feel like anyone else. I began competing in soccer and softball in elementary school, but due to unbearable hip pain, it would be impossible to continue playing. Devastated, I begged my parents to let me keep competing. Yet again, it seemed the word impossible would define my life. Desperate to satisfy my competitive drive, I was introduced to the sport of swimming. The first time I dove into a pool, I felt free and immediately knew I belonged. There were no leg braces or wheelchairs holding me back, and nobody staring at me for the way I walked. It was just me in the pool. I was free. In 2012, less than a year after I began swimming, I discovered a news article about a local girl who had qualified for the London Paralympic Games for swimming, and most surprisingly, she was also born with arthrogryposis. I immediately became intrigued by what the Paralympics were and how I could become involved. Little did I know that the Paralympics are an elite competition parallel to the Olympics for athletes with disabilities. With hard work, 2 years later, I was named to the U.S. Paralympic swimming emerging team and qualified for my first international competition. In the para swimming world, I met amazing people who had overcome unimaginable obstacles to reach their goals. Being part of a community of athletes just like me has helped me accept myself, differences and all. I have come to realize that my disability is part of my identity and has made me the person I am, but it is not who I am. Instead of hiding my disability and pretending like it doesn't exist, I have learned to embrace my obstacles and embrace the impossible. My dream is to help others with disabilities find independence and confidence in themselves as I have been able to do. From my experiences in traveling the world on the U.S. Paralympic swimming national team and being surrounded by individuals in the adaptive sports community, I have seen firsthand the power of technologies in prosthetics and mobility devices that allow people with disabilities to accept themselves and push their limits. For my double leg amputee friend, a newly designed prosthetic foot gives her the ability to lift weights and do CrossFit. For Paralympic runners, blade technology allows them to run as fast as Olympians. The marriage of engineering and healthcare helps the community of people with disabilities to redefine challenges. The notion of developing medical devices that help people with disabilities become more independent and see their impairments as less restrictive makes the future extremely exciting. I've also had the opportunity to witness the impact medicine and technology can have to better the lives of individuals with disabilities in my own home. My brother and I were both born with the same musculoskeletal disability. However, while mine only affects my lower body, his is more severe and affects his arms and legs. This means he's unable to perform many daily tasks independently that most people take for granted, getting out of bed, eating, changing, and more. But because of new orthopedic technology, he is able to perform many activities never even imagined. Seeing how technology has changed his life and given him a more positive outlook on his disability has further fueled my passion for biomedical engineering. The Paralympic Gateway has transformed my disability into opportunity. Without sports and the uplifting community I now belong to, I may have never seen my potential and embraced my limitations. From being told I would never be able to walk to thinking my athletic career was over in third grade, I now have a dream to qualify for the 2021 Paralympic Games in Tokyo, representing my country on the world's biggest stage. Sports in the Paralympic community also ignited my passion for bioengineering and allowed me to reimagine my disability and redefine the word impossible. My favorite quote is from Audrey Hepburn. "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." Impossible is only a word. I now know that I'm possible, and I strive to help others realize they too are possible in a seemingly impossible world. The possibility to change the impossible into possible and to make my dreams come to fruition are within my grasp as a student in Rice University's bioengineering program, as well as being a member of Rice's Division I swimming and diving team. I have also become involved in Rice's Mahi Lab, where I have the amazing opportunity to conduct research into prosthetic devices. As a part of this research team, I have been given the amazing opportunity to publish my research from last summer, as well as present my findings at a national symposium. Rice has also afforded me the opportunity to give my first TED Talk on disability, the hidden minority. With all the unique opportunities available to me at Rice, I have no doubt that the power to change the world will be at my fingertips. This tuition grant will enable me to pursue my two biggest passions, qualifying for the Paralympic Games and using my platform to help others with disabilities. By helping defray the cost of an expensive private education, this grant will help me to continue attending one of the country's top bioengineering programs while training as the first para-athlete on the Division I women's swim team. I'm beyond excited to further my passion for engineering and redefine disability by designing prosthetics and technology to not only provide independence, but allow the world to see the ability in disability. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being who you are, and I look forward to granting your research application someday.
Thank you.
And to the board, I would like to officially motion to accept Hallia's college scholarship application.
I will second it.
All approved, unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Hallia. That was a beautiful essay. And just so our families know that we could not grant our families with these much needed community give back grants without your help. And so in this slide, we're going to just quickly cover fundraising. Obviously, you know that the last 2 years have been very, very difficult for AMCSI with 2 back-to-back cancellations of in-person conferences. But our families who have hosted annual fundraisers for us have definitely tried to do some of their events virtually, and some have resumed in-person fundraising. So we do appreciate each and every one of you who have been there for us throughout the last 15, 16 years, fundraising through Facebook fundraisers, donating your coins, your lemonade stands, all of your precious efforts to make sure that these grants are possible for our AMCers. So these are just the numbers that you see on the screen are just a few that happened this year. We had a lot more, all of your donations that came in through AMC Awareness Day, as well as purchasing a Awareness Day shirt. We appreciate that because it has helped so much in all of our programs that we have available for our community. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We do have an upcoming Hip Hop Festival that's on August 8th, and we'll be posting more information about that on our social media. So thank you again.
And that puts me up next. I'm talking here about the fact that AMCSI is really us. It's all of us listening to this broadcast. And you can see from the poll that Jean did at the very beginning, we're a very wide and diverse group, and we need all of us to participate. So those of us who are those of you who have AMCSI or have AMC, those who are parents of somebody with arthrogryposis, or those who love somebody with arthrogryposis or take care of them, we all should have a voice in this group. So I really urge everybody to volunteer for things such as the different committees. If you have a special talent, if you can write grants, for example, or can fundraise, can work social media, have a knack for marketing, we really want to hear from you. Those who know how to get the ear of somebody in politics in the state level, the regional level, hey, even the national level, we're always looking for advocacy. And definitely when boards positions come up, when we need help in finance, everybody has a voice and we need to hear from everyone.
All right, so I guess I am up for AMC Day Appreciation. We want to thank everyone that submitted their pictures and shared all of their AMC pictures and using hashtag blue for AMC and hashtag AMC curves. So every year on June 30th, we spread the word about AMC all over our social media platforms, and we asked you to join in, and we got great responses. Joe, if you want to go to the next slide, it shows a couple of more pictures of people who shared their AMC for AMC awareness, excuse me. Can't talk. All right, so we can go to the next slide. And we're gonna have a little Q&A. So for those of you that don't know, you may enter your questions into the chat box or click the raise your hand icon if you would like to ask a question. If you're on phones, you can press *9 to raise your hand, and that way you can ask your question. And I have a list incoming right now, so I'll go ahead with the first one. Let's see. How has AMCSI fared with the loss of donations due to the pandemic? Are there new fundraisers planned?
So we are struggling, but that's okay because we have the future to look forward to. And obviously your ways of helping us is is definitely through membership, joining, renewing your annual membership. And definitely if it's your birthday and Facebook tells you to start a fundraiser for us, that also helps us. There's so many different ways for our community to chip in and help. If you have any, dreams of hosting your own 5K locally, we have a number of awesome professional fundraisers now that can definitely offer advice on how to do so. And a lot of our families have come up with unique ways to raise money for us through school. Once school is back in session, some of our families host a blue day and they charge like 50 cents to $1 to wear blue jeans, or even purchase a cute little mushroom to hang up to support AMCSI. So yes, new fundraisers come up. Sometimes we're not exactly notified of them, but they're out there. And if you're looking for ways to help AMCSI, please shoot us a message.
Thank you. All right, let's go to the next question. Will conference be scaled down due to the loss of funds? Michelle, you want to take this?
As things stand right now, we are not planning on making any significant changes. We are extremely lucky to have the support of so many people in the medical profession, in other professions that assist families living with disabilities in their world, that our overhead for that conference is not as significant as it might seem. So as things stand right now, our goal is to move forward with things like they've been in the past and to provide you with another amazing event with phenomenal speakers from around the country.
I know we are all looking forward to getting back to that. Next question. Let's see. Are we going back to the canceled locations? I know you touched a little bit about this on your slide, but
so we will, as I said, be returning to Atlanta in the future. The property in Scottsdale has gone through some changes, so we are not scheduled at this point to go back to Scottsdale.
Next question. Will you do more virtual conferences? These, someone noted they're better because they don't have to travel so much, and the cost saving is mentioned.
That is something that may be incorporated. I cannot give a straight yes or no answer. Our amazing technical moderator, Jean, is the one who helps me with all the technical side of conference. And so I don't think we would be doing a simultaneous live conference and virtual conference. As somebody who had to teach that way, it is an awful lot of work. So we might have recordings available after the fact and that type of thing.
All right. So the next one isn't really a question, but really some kudos. Huge shout out to all the planning crew and all the hard work going into conference planning. We know you guys work so hard on providing this awesome conference for us in person and virtually, and shout out.
On behalf of the Loons, thank you.
Okay, so a lot of people have asked this next question, and I'm not sure you're going to get the answer, guys. It is, where will conference be, with lots and lots of question marks.
So you have one more week to wait. We will announce it next Saturday at approximately 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And not only will we announce it as part of the closing of our virtual conference, it will be released with the help of Brandon all over social media at the same time.
Yes, thank you. All right, next question. Can a Hallia speech/application be posted on the AMC website? Now, I can go ahead and answer part of that. I'm not sure that her application can be because it has all kinds of personal information, but Ani or Joey, who would like to answer the rest of that?
If we're granted permission, I don't see why not.
Yeah, let's hold off and discuss it with her and get back to you.
Question, can we watch Hallia live on TV when she races? AMC SI live stream it on Facebook?
It'll
I
be
hope
on,
so.
yeah, it'll be on NBC, hopefully.
Awesome. So we'll be watching out for that, and maybe put a Facebook post on when that's going to happen, what channels you can see it on. All right. So we have another question. Can we vote or suggest research topics as members for the grantees?
So the question was about research grant ideas or people wanting to apply for research grants?
So it seems as if they're asking if the membership can either suggest research topics for folks that are applying for the grant, and it usually doesn't work that way. Usually they come to us with an idea and we decide whether or not we fund it or not.
Yeah, you're correct. It is a rigorous process where usually doctors, researchers, and scientists start at this level where they have a question they can answer because they have reached a point where they've done so much base work. And again, just doing a bio sketch takes pages, just doing the projective narrative, coming up with their own budget, going through usually a university or a hospital. This is all like major stuff. And then to have it be AMC related, and a couple of our one of our researchers, Dr. Bonnie, has AMC, so she is motivated to find some answers. And Dr. Hall also does 40, 50 years of research on this, but it comes to us fully formed, packaged, and all the professional accolades already there. So it's not like AMCSI has never said, and I'd love to know what causes a myoplasia. So would Dr. Hall. She's been at it for 50 years. But to get to that point where you can do professional, peer-reviewed, demonstratable, evidence-based research, there's a lot that goes into it before it even touches us. And we're just one piece of the puzzle. We're just the green light to how can we help you? So I hope I'm making sense that it's not simply, oh, hey, let's come up with ideas for these researchers. They have tons, but it can only move forward once they have enough data, enough research already in place to move forward with the piece of going out and doing surveys or medical exams and all the pieces that play into that, because you can't just ask someone medical questions. There's a lot to it. So I hope that answers the question. If you have any more questions, stick them in the chat and I can find answers if I don't have them.
All right, next question. Do you need the copy of the congressional record for AMC Awareness Day? I think I can answer that. I would say yes, please send it to us if you have it for your state. All right. Is there an AMCSI branch in Europe or anything like that planned?
Not right now, but that's the dream, right? Yes, we would love to have footprints internationally. So if you are in other countries and have a great interest in bringing AMCSI to your home country, please shoot us a message. We'd love to collaborate with you.
All right. I think.
If I could interject real quickly on that, there are some countries that do have organizations. So we've worked closely with the arthrogryposis group in Great Britain. They're known as TAG. In the Netherlands, there's also a group that comes under many different umbrellas that have to do with muscle diseases. So there are some groups that you can look around for. There may already be something in existence. And if you know of somebody that we don't know about, please let us know so that we can make a firmer attachment to them. Because we really, this is all about coordination and cooperation and collaboration. So please let us know if you know of any other groups.
Melissa, I don't know if you can see this one, but the arthrogryposis group in New Zealand just sent their warm regards. They are on and watching it right now. So, well
I
timed.
did. I just flipped over to the back to the to see what was next, and I saw the one from New Zealand. We're so glad that you could join us.
Awesome.
All
I
right.
think I'm up to talk about what AMCSI has been up to for the last year. So hi everyone, it's been quite a while. I think last year when we all sat down and had this meeting, we were still very much in shock that we were kind of having to not meet in real life and sort of figure out how to navigate this pandemic as best we could. And I think if there's one headline that you take from this meeting around our trajectory as an organization, I hope that we're certainly on the up and up. We have put so much hard work into this over the last year to work with a really wonderful consultant that you're going to meet in a few minutes. His name is Charles. Charles has sort of taken us under his wing and guided us through so much to become I think, more thoughtful, well-planned organization that we needed to become as we sort of move into this next phase of growth. So we have one really major priority coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's to hire an ED, which is an executive director. It's going to be someone that leads our work as a full-time job, and that's not what we do as a board of directors. So we'll have one person that steps on board, and ultimately their role is to report to us as a board of directors, but they will actually be leading the operations from time to time. They have so much on their plate. I'm even nervous just thinking about all that they're going to be doing. But ultimately, I think we have gotten a lot of really wonderful applications. We have about a pool of over 40 applicants at this time, and we'd like to keep that application open. We're just now starting the actual interview processes. So if you or someone that could be a good fit for this really exciting position, we would love for them to apply. We're going to keep the application open until the end of conference. So at that time, we'll actually close it. And up until then, again, think through anyone in your network. If you think that they have any experience that could certainly help us as we move into the next this other phase. A couple of other, I think, things that I wanted to highlight. In the last year, we totally rewrote and revised our bylaws as an organization. So we approved those earlier this week, and they are now officially, on the books. We have so much ahead as we, recently brought on a first paid staff member. His name is Brandon. He's been actually doing so much work behind the scenes in terms of getting our social media where it needs to be, ensuring that our community continues to come together, and we continue to feel this love between us that we know exists, but it's certainly hard to see in times like this. So with that, would love to pass it over to our guest speaker for the night, Mr. Charles. If you want to share your screen, Charles, I think you can take over now, but I'll sort of give a little bit more context into how you came on board. So if you attended this meeting last year, Charles came and presented, and it was within the first couple of weeks of actually I guess, forming a relationship with us. And in the last year, he's held several trainings with us as a board. We've done countless hours together, sort of taking a deeper look into where we've been over the years, but ultimately focused more on where we want to go in the coming. We're in the process now of trying to think through our strategic plan as an organization, how a paid staff member is going to fit into that plan. But ultimately, we're absolutely centered around doing what's right for our people, and our people are all of you. I think the one sentence that sort of stuck out to me in this entire presentation thus far is, I think it was Dr. VB named that AMCSI is all of us, right? It's not one person or a group of people, but it truly is all of us coming together to do what's right for this community and ensure that it continues to stay as connected as it was prior to the pandemic, as we sort of navigate our way out of it. So with that, excited to have you here, Charles. And again, so appreciative for all that you've done for our work over the last year.
Thank you, Joey. Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you. A pleasure, a pleasure, a pleasure. Joey, I love when a plan comes together because you just said a few words that you'll see a second in my presentation. And I was like, I just love when it all comes together. We are on the same page. So I'm excited to be working here with you, excited to meet the members, excited to be working with the board over the last year. And everyone, tonight, I'm going to talk with you about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, leadership. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've talked to with the board over the last year or so, because I think you need to see it as well. I think it applies to all of us. Tonight, my task is to share a speech or presentation related to looking forward for AMCSI. Looking forward, what does that look like for us? And I want you to realize as I get started, it's going to take leadership for us to get there. It's going to take leadership. And I'm going to talk about that and how we all are leaders to some degree or another, and we all play a role in crafting and shaping and cultivating and casting the future of AMCSI. The future is bright. We have a lot going on, and we're looking forward to doing this together. So what does that look like? As you look at the screen, look at the journey ahead. Joey just said it takes all of us, and Joey did not see my slide, unless he did it and I didn't realize it. But the journey ahead, let's talk about it. Look at number one, is going to take all of us. None of us can get there alone. None of us can do this by ourselves. We need each other. We are a team. We must do this together. Let me tell you about this journey ahead we're going to face. There will be celebrations. Oh, we're going to celebrate. There are going to be moments where we are ecstatic and we're celebrating and we're feeling good. There will also be uncertainties and challenges. We won't be able to control everything. I know you know that already, but I want to just say it here. There's going to be uncertainties, going to take challenges, but it'll take all of us to get through it together. We are not alone. There will be laughter and there will be tears. We will laugh together and we will cry together, but we will be together. That's the key. That's the key. There will be encouragement. There'll be encouragement. The Latin root for the word courage means heart. When you encourage somebody, you actually put heart into each other. Folks, our work is not just hard work, it's heart work. And we must be there to encourage each other on those days when we need it. Oh, there will be opportunities. We will always look for the opportunity, even in the midst of challenges, those days where we feel like we might not be able to push through, there's an opportunity and it is our job to find it together. And there will be support. It's in our name. We have to do it. It's part of our mission. There will always be support. Why? Because the journey ahead will take all of us. So let me talk about this journey and what we can expect going ahead in this travel. The board members have seen this before, but I really was excited to share this with you because this is the work that we use when we work with organizations. And most people think, well, that just applies to the board, doesn't it, Charles? Or that just applies to the team, or that applies to corporations. This applies to life, applies to all of us. Whenever a group of people come together and go on a journey or a task to do anything, they're going to go through what the experts call stages of development. Back in 1965, there was this social psychologist. His name was Dr. Bruce Tuckman, and he talked about stages of development: forming, storming, norming, and performing. There's a fifth one, adjournment, but we're not going to go there today. I'm going to talk about these stages of development, what we can expect in our journey. He says during the first stage is forming. We transition from individual to member status. Now I'm not alone, I'm a part of something. We explore the boundaries of the group. We test the leader's guidance both formally and informally. Who's in charge? How do things work around here? Where do I fit in? How do we do this? We're just kind of coming together. Then we hit a storm, uncertainty in the storm. We start to question, why am I here? Why are we here? Why are you here? Who decided to do this? It can be a difficult time for a team. We resist collaborating. Harold just mentioned collaborating, but during the storm, sometimes we resist it. Even though we must work together, sometimes we push back on that. We debate the approach and actions that we need to take. During the storm, even easy decisions become difficult. If we make it through the storm, the next stage is norming. Once we norm, now there's some clarity, there's some understanding. We start to reconcile those competing loyalties and responsibilities. Watch this. We realize we're on the same team. We might have a different approach or a different path or a different method, but we're trying to get to the same place. Can't we do this together? We establish those ground rules. We begin to assist and support one another. And then we start performing. Look at us go. We've discovered and accepted each other's strengths and weaknesses. Roles, relationships, and expectations are clear. Progress is evident. We are performing. Look at us go. Look at AMCSI go. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. As we go ahead in the journey ahead, we are going to go through these stages. We've been through some of them already. If you've been around long enough, you know this. Here's another visual of this forming, storming, norming, and performing. Notice running vertically up and down is performance. You see time running horizontally side to side there. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. And I want you to pay attention to something, folks. During the storm, do you see how performance drops? Storms can be tremendously challenging for teams. The pandemic put us through a storm. There'll be other storms to come. It may not be a pandemic. Hopefully it won't be, but storms will come. Storms are so challenging, but I want to share something with you for the journey ahead. There's not a strategic plan we can adopt. There's not a bylaws that we can amend. There's not a board that we can elect or appoint that will ensure we avoid all future storms. Storms are part of the process. Let me say that again. The journey ahead for us, there are going to be storms. There's nothing we can do to ensure we avoid all storms. Part of the process. Our job is to get through the storms together and to navigate the storms together. But as leaders, and I'm not just talking to board members, I'm talking to everyone under the sound of my voice right now. At some point, you are leading, you fill a leadership role, somebody is counting on you. As leaders, we have to help navigate those storms. But there are two storms as we go forward with AMCSI I want you to be careful of. I want you to watch out for these storms because these are the most dangerous storms. The first storm is what we call the quiet storm. The quiet storm is that storm we go through, but nobody will talk about it. You ever had one of those situations where we got a problem, but people won't mention it? That's the quiet storm. Sometimes we got to have tough conversations. Sometimes we have to engage in dialogue that might not be too comfortable. I don't want to say it, but we have to say that. We have to have radical candor with each other. We got to create the space where we can put our truth and honesty out there and grow together because dialogue is the foundation of our relationships. So we got to call out the quiet storms if they're there. And the other challenge as leaders I want you to be aware of as we move forward is what we call when the storm becomes the norm. That's a situation where the clouds never seem to part, the sun never seems to shine, the waters never seem to calm. We seem to stay in a storm around here. No, we don't have to stay in a storm. We navigate through the storms and we learn the lessons and we grow from there. All that being said, here's my warning, and I use that word intentionally. Here's my warning for you. Storming is not the most dangerous place to be for AMCSI or for anyone on the call today in your organization, your family, your business, or your community. The most challenging and dangerous place to be is performing. Performing can be challenging because performance can breed complacency. We're good. We're good. We're so good. We win awards. We're so good. They write articles about us. We're good. We're great. And then someday somebody new looks up at the wall and says, okay, we're good, but that was from, 1995 or 2005. What have you done lately? Always remember this. Everyone, please remember this. The reward for high performance is greater expectations. When we do great, people want more. Would y'all agree with that? When we do great, people want more. So let's do great. but then let's be prepared to do more. That's what the road ahead looks like for us. Let's do great, let's be great, but remember, let's then be prepared to do more. And by the way, though this looks like a nice little check mark on your screen right here, let me show you your reality. That's what it looks like. We're all over the place. The larger we get, the more members we have, the more programs we have, the more partnerships we have, the more grants we put out there, the more we do, the more likely we'll have different components going through different stages at the exact same time. And the board has to govern through all of that. This new executive director that Joey's talking about will have to manage through all of that. And all of us will have to coordinate and cooperate and be understanding through all of this. That's just a picture of our reality. And I show you this so when we have those moments where we say, it feels like we're all over the place, because we are. There will be those times where, well, it's because we are. But we can manage it as long as we acknowledge it and realize it. So that's part of the journey ahead. And so what is it going to take to do this? It's going to take leadership. I want your leadership. Notice my definition of leadership has nothing to do with a position or a title. Positions and titles are nice and we need them and they're appropriate, and there's a function that goes with those platforms. But the leadership I'm talking about here is even deeper than that. Leadership in my mind is influence. Influence. And leadership effectiveness, the definition is the successful use of influence to produce a desired or intended result. The successful use of influence to produce a desired or intended result. Every person on this call, on this video right now, at some point in your life, you have demonstrated leadership effectiveness. At some point, you will demonstrate leadership effectiveness. Every day you are attempting to use your influence to produce a desired or intended result. At AMCSI, we are attempting to use our individual and collective influence to produce a desired or intended result. If we come together as a team, as membership continues to rebound and bounce back and grow and get stronger and stronger, and collectively we say, you know what, if we pull our influence together, we can use it to produce a desired or intended result. That's the mission of AMCSI, and that's the collective power of us coming together. None of us can do it alone. Ani mentioned at the beginning that she said, I was the founder. Ani, I know you're a humble person, but if I were to say, Ani, can you do this by yourself? Tell us all to go home and you got the mission covered. You can do it alone. You can't do it, right? Ani, don't you need some help? Alexis does a great job as a secretary, but Alexis, I know you want some help. Jenny needs some help. And we all are saying, I can't do this by myself. But when we come together and pull our intelligence, pull our experiences, pull our knowledge, skills, and abilities, that influence we can use to produce the desired and intended result that it will be in the vision and the mission of AMCSI. And what can we all do? What can we all do as parents and family and children and relatives and support groups? Here's what we can do. We can all start by answering this question. What am I able to do? This is a leadership training that we use with corporate executives across the world, quite frankly, and I'm going to share it with you today. One thing we tell people, there's power in this question. Power in this question. Hallia, I think I pronounced her name right, Hallia, who was the swimmer who just spoke with you earlier, this is what she asked herself. What am I able to do? She was able to swim, she made a difference. She focused on the opportunities of what she could do. In life and in leadership, we have to ask this question as well. What am I able to do? If we're going to use our influence to produce a result, there are 6 things that we are able to do together, individually and collectively, and these will help us move forward together as AMCSI. What are we able to do? The first thing that we are able to do is we are able to be teachable. I want to ask everybody to consider this. Will I be teachable? In other words, watch this, ready and willing to learn. All of us can learn from somebody. All of us. It's going to take a learning culture, a learning environment, a learning attitude for us to move forward. And in being teachable, we must all come into a space, not always ready to tell somebody something, but ready to listen and learn something. This week during conference, I want you to go into teachable mode. Every day, I want you to walk away with one thing every day. If I were to see you every day and say, what'd you learn today? Give me one thing. You may not learn 100 things, but if you learn one thing a day, if my counting is right, that's about 5 or 6 new things that you can begin implementing come next Saturday or Sunday. So let's be teachable. And teachable people, remember this, teachable people do not have to be the smartest people in the room. Don't want to be smartest people. Don't need to be. Teachable people are okay saying these 3 beautiful words. I don't know. Teachable people are okay being humble and saying, I don't know. But guess what? I can find out and get back with you. Or I don't know. Maybe we can find out together. I don't know. Hey, maybe they know. Let's go ask them. See, humility is a strength, not a weakness. It's okay to say, I don't know, and then explore and find the answers together. And as leaders, when we are vulnerable and become teachable, we help others become teachable as well. And we are learning from each other and growing together. So please, let's assume a teachable posture for the rest of this week and the rest of our time together going forward. And the more we learn together and grow together, the more we can have the impact we want through our mission. So we're able to be teachable. The next thing we're able to do is we're able to be believable. I think trust is important. If you look on your screen, you see that word trust there. We have to trust each other. I want us to trust each other. I want us to have confidence in each other. And when I say the word trust, I'm talking about confidence. Do we trust each other? I'm asking, do we have confidence in each other? We have confidence in each other because we see each other as credible. We're credible, and we all must be credible in what we do. And here's what I want you to remember about credibility. Credibility consists of 2 things, competency and character. A person or an organization demonstrates competency and character. We view them as credible. We have confidence in them. Therefore, we trust them and believe them. See, think about it for a second. I'm going to say something pretty challenging here. You don't have to agree with it, but here's what my experience has taught me. I used to think you had to know a person to trust a person. Then I learned, you don't. I learned I trusted a lot of people every day that I didn't even know. I ate in restaurants. I didn't know the chef. I flew on planes. I didn't know the pilot. Look, I had rotator cuff surgery. I didn't know the doctor. I knew about a week beforehand. I trusted a lot of people that I didn't know. And I was like, what caused me to trust them with my life, with my health, and so on? They were credible because they operated with competency and with character. And so we must recognize, as AMCSI, if we're going to grow, if we're going to build up together, if we're going to make a difference, we must always ask ourselves this question. Am I demonstrating the competency and the character consistent with the position I hold? Whether I'm a parent, a board member, a volunteer, a committee chair, no matter what I do, am I demonstrating the competency and the character consistent with the position I hold? Because all of us have an impact in this organization. All of us do. And what I've learned in my lifetime, one person can damage the credibility of an entire organization. One person can damage the credibility of an entire initiative. So let's make sure we operate with competency. We know what we're doing and character, and we do it the right way and for the right reason. If we do that, then we will believe each other, the community will believe us, and we can use that belief to build on and to grow, because trust will be foundational to us going forward. What else can we do? We have to be accountable. Folks, I'll tell you right now, from working with your board members now for over a year, they are accountable. Your board members, they take accountability serious. They don't play around with accountability. That you heard Joey say the bylaws were amended, were revised, so to speak. That's a measure of accountability. I mean, sitting down, going line by line through those bylaws. Why do we say that? Why do we do that? They wanted to make sure that whatever they put out there as bylaws and policies could be adhered to. When I talk about accountability, I talk about 3 things that are pretty interesting. And again, this applies to all of us, not just the board. Accountability. Check this out. Be where you are supposed to be. Do what you are supposed to do, and answer to whom you are supposed to answer. Just imagine those 3 things. Just imagine a world where people, I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to answer to whom I'm supposed to answer. Because here, again, I've learned a lesson in accountability. No one reaches a height in leadership where you stop answering to someone. We all answer to somebody. We all do. We all answer to somebody, and we must be willing to answer to each other. And as we go through this journey ahead, we're going to have to answer to each other. And we have to be counted on. Can I count on you? Can you count on me? And being accountable, watch this, means that we should not overpromise and underperform. Sometimes we compromise our own accountability by overpromising and underperforming. Let's not do that. Let's be realistic. Let's set what they call some stretch goals. Let's push ourselves to do a little bit more. Let's also look at it and say, is this reasonable? Is this feasible? Because the one thing we don't want to do with accountability, see, accountability can impact trust. Because if we're not accountable, we'll break trust. And then it's hard to bring it back. And by the way, some of us will be in a position where we have to restore trust we did not break. We weren't even there when it happened. So let's remember that. Let's remember that. Next thing, being approachable. If we are going to move forward together as a team, all of us, we got to be approachable. Like the magnet that you see on the screen right there, approachable people are attractive people. Are you an attractive person? Think about that for a second. Don't answer it out loud. Are you an attractive person? If I look at the numbers correctly, I think there are about 65 people on the line today. I believe there are 65 attractive people on the line today. Now, let me tell you how I define attractive. See, some people, when they think of attractive, they use these superficial Hollywood definitions of people on these magazine covers where they adjusted what their bodies and their faces look like and so on. When I talk about being attractive, I am not talking about what Charles looks like externally. When I talk about being attractive, I am talking about your attitude, your energy, what some people would call your spirit. Are you attractive? Do you draw people in? Have you ever in your life known a person or been around somebody that you felt like just being around because it was almost like they poured into you, they fueled you just by talking to you? It was like being around them was like getting plugged into an electrical socket, like it brought life to you. That's attractive. That's an approachable person. And if we are going to grow together, we have got to be approachable. We have got to let people get next to us, to connect with us. We must realize approachable people are compassionate. Let me say it again. We demonstrate compassion, not pity. Nobody wants pity, but we all want compassion and empathy. We all need compassion and empathy. We all want to display compassion and empathy. Approachable people have an open mind. We can even change the mind based on new information. But let's be approachable and connect with people, because no matter what the mission of AMCSI is, the one thing we all agree on, we are in the business of people. People matter more than anything else. And people want to be in relationship with other people who want to be in relationship. Can we connect? Can I get to know you? Can you get to know me? Let's be approachable. And we can build those bridges and build those bonds that will carry us forward as AMCSI. And then the next thing we got to consider is we have to be adaptable. And in being adaptable, you heard me talk about change earlier. Change is going to happen. And watch this. You're not going to like all the change that happens. Change will happen in the world. Change will happen within the organization. Change will happen within the membership. We don't always like the change. But here's the deal. Our job isn't to like the change. Our job is to recognize the change so we can navigate and survive the change. Let me say it again. We don't have to like the change, but our job is to recognize the change so we can navigate and survive the change. I'm not going to tell you to conform to all the change happening in the world. That's your decision, not mine. But I will say this to you. We better recognize it so we can navigate it, so we can survive it, so we can keep pushing through it. Adaptable leaders, adaptable teams, adaptable communities, adaptable families, and you're good at this, you're doing it already. This is just to reinforce and encourage you, is to continue to recognize what do we have to do to navigate the current environment. And we adapt together. We don't get stale, we don't get stagnant, get out of that rut and move and adapt and adjust accordingly so we can keep moving forward. And then finally, and I'll take any questions after this, the last consideration I want you to have, what are you able to do? You're able to be durable. Durable. You see my friend on the screen here with the cape on his back? I'm going to get personal with this right now for a second. I'm going to slow down a little bit. My friend with the cape, I think we all have something in common with him. I don't know many of you personally, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think we all might have something in common with my friend with the cape on here. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You get up in the morning, get out of bed, put that cape on, and you start helping and saving. Before you leave the bedroom, before you leave the house, you start helping, saving, tending to, doing all types of things. Often not for yourself, but for other people, family. And that's okay. We don't complain. It's family. It's what we do. We don't complain. We do it. Some of us have to leave the house and go to a job. We keep that cape on because when we go to work, there's somebody to save, to help, to support, to assist. And we don't mind, we don't complain. It's our ministry, it's our mission, it's our calling, it's our job. We chose this, it chose us. We're good at it and we want to pour into it. Somebody did it for us, we're going to do it for them. And it's okay, but we keep that cape on at work. And then for many of us, when the work day is over, or even the school day is over, we don't take the cape off. We volunteer, we go serve on the board of directors. We serve on some group in the community. A support group, we volunteer, we give back because somebody gave back to us. It's our way of investing in the community. We keep it on. So we serve some more. Then by the time we get home in the evening, or by the time we shut the Zoom call off, oh, it's not over, it's not over. We still have more helping and supporting and encouraging to do. We don't complain, and we should not. It's what we do. It's who we love, and it's how we love. And for many of us, as the night begins to die down and everyone begins to settle down and quiet down, we did a great job today taking care of everybody except one person. Self. Here's a personal question for you. And I know you don't ask yourself this question. I know you don't in many cases because you got a lot going on. So I'm going to give you permission in the next 60 seconds to think about yourself. How long can I sustain the pace that I'm on? This is real, y'all. This is real. How long can I sustain the pace that I'm on? This is real talk. When Joey talks about us all being there for each other, supporting each other, this is it right here. How long can I sustain that pace? I know you know this, but I came tonight to remind you that burnout is real. Getting worn out is real. And we have to help each other find and create the space to take a break. We have to help each other catch our breath. We have to help each other pause, if it's just for a minute, to pull it together. I don't know about you, but I need that sometimes. In the world of manufacturing goods, there's something called durable goods. Durable goods are those things that we buy that should last a long time, like a refrigerator or a washing machine or a dryer. They should last a long time. If I tell you, hey, I have to buy a new refrigerator every 2 weeks, something's wrong with that. That should last a little bit longer than 2 weeks. Now, my glasses aren't durable goods. These will break. I'll replace them more often. You know, these cords for our phones aren't durable goods. These will break and tear. I'll replace those more often. But durable goods are meant to last a long time. I think we're durable. And I think we're meant to last longer than many of us last. Because we forgot to look at our own personal maintenance manual. We forgot to remember how to take care of ourselves. We forgot to give ourselves space to recover and to recuperate. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm also telling you right now that we're not alone. Part of AMCSI, part of our support is finding the space to have these conversations and the dialogue to encourage and support and lift each other. I want us to understand that we all have limitations and capabilities. Sometimes we have to say no, N-O. Though we want to and our heart is there, we want to be everything to everybody. Sometimes we just cannot be everything to everybody. Sometimes we don't have the capacity. And I want to tell you tonight, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. Because if everybody on the line today will ask each other for help, then we'll all have some help and we'll all get to take a break. That's what community is about. That's what team is about. That's what we're building right here. We can't get there without us. We need each other to get there together. Remember this, self-care is not selfish. Take care of yourself so you can keep taking care of others. We appreciate all you do. Peace and love.
All right. Thank you so much, Charles. I think I speak for everyone. And when I say thank you so much for joining us tonight for that presentation, for being there to support us and guide us through the last year and continuing on in the future. It's awesome to work with you and to learn from you. And so we have a couple of questions now. Generally, everyone loves you, of course. That is the general consensus everywhere, is everyone loves you. One of our members says, this guy is so awesome. I want to go do a fundraiser for AMC right now, like right now. That's what we want to hear, right? We want to get pumped up. We want to get excited. We want to make, bring those donations in and so we can serve more people. So thank you for that one. The next question is, am I leading? I'm a mom who tells my doctor about AMCSI so that other families can learn and join.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are leading. You are using your influence to get those results. Keep doing it.
Yes. All right. Next question. Can you explain more about the executive director versus the board? Is that person also a part of the board? Do members get to vote on hiring that person?
Joey, Joe, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, sure. So an ED is the one person that's sort of boots on the ground at all times, handling the day-to-day operations of a nonprofit. Whereas the board is a group of unpaid professionals sitting together and truly thinking through the strategic planning side of things to then have the ED go and execute on that plan. And was there a question that I didn't answer there, Melissa?
Okay,
No.
so is that person also part of the board?
Right, so that person is not a part of the board in that they do not vote on anything that the board does vote on. But they do attend board meetings, often answering our questions, helping us best understand what their time looks like as they actually run the org. So they're certainly a major part of a board meeting, but not one that has the say that a typical board member might.
Yes, and the last part to that question is, do members get to vote on hiring that person?
We have not opened it up to sort of a vote. It's being handled by a couple of recruiters out there that know much more about best practices in the hiring space than any of us that currently sit on the board. So we feel really confident in the direction that we're going, and that we have a lot of unbiased professionals that are currently taking a hard look at all the people that have applied thus far. We've determined a 5-round interview process for everyone that is deemed qualified to sort of progress through that process. And ultimately, we have several policies and procedures in check to ensure that we're approaching that in the most equitable way possible. So it's not an open vote to board members, but do trust or open vote to current AMCSI members, but do trust that our board members are taking it incredibly seriously. That the last round of this interview process is an actual board presentation where they will present to us and allow us to really dive deep into their professional experience and all that they bring to the table. So do know that we're taking it really seriously. This has been well in the works and planned for about a year now. So we're now at the stage of that plan where we're putting our plan into action and actually beginning the actual process of interviewing. So super exciting time, but one that we're excited to keep you all up to date and you know, be as transparent about it as we can throughout this process.
Awesome, thank you. The next question is for Charles, I believe. What phase is AMCSI in? I think that question was asked when you were on the stages of development slide.
I am going to answer from my perspective, and I love for board members to jump in as well. Overall, Ani, remind me, how long is AMCSI? When was it founded?
In 2007, we were officially incorporated.
Okay, so we're going about, so that's about 4 years now, right? I'm sorry, 14 years.
15.
14, 15 years, right? Okay, thank you. In my professional opinion, we are now back in what I'm going to call the forming stage. And what I mean, if you look at, as Joey was saying, we're bringing in an executive director. There are new bylaws right now. The board is being, you know, pulled together, getting professional development. So you go, it's cyclical. So right now, I believe we're forming right now, getting some documents in place, some personnel in place, and we'll start moving through the cycle again. If somebody wanted to add to that, but that's what I believe.
Anyone want to add to that? All right. Next question, can I become a member of AMCSI now? And I can go ahead and answer, absolutely you can. Jean, I think, has put the link to become a member in the chat box. So if you click your chat box, you can go there, you can go on our website, you can go on Facebook, Instagram, all of those places to become a member. They will all lead you back to our website. Next question, are any board members in the running for the ED position?
No.
The answer to that is
no.
I'm going to give it just a second more to make sure that no other questions are coming in. If anyone who was unable to submit their questions via the chat button, please do remember that you can click your raise your hand button on Zoom, or you can press *9 to raise your hand.
I'll add one quick thing around applications for the ED role. So if this is something that you know you think you can do well and lead AMCSI to this next phase of growth, we'd love to have you apply. We are again keeping the applications open for the next week as we move through this conference. So you can email your cover letter and your resume to an email account that I'll make sure goes in the chat, but that email address is recruitment.amcsi@gmail.com. So recruitment.amcsi@gmail, and then we will get those materials and then send them over to this external person that is helping us learn how to best do this very complex hiring process that we're all very excited to complete.
Definitely. The next question you just answered, actually, it was, she says, or they say that I have an amazing potential candidate as a recommendation for the new executive director position, excuse me. Where are applications? And the answer to that is there is not an official application, but you can send your cover letters and resumes to recruitment.amcsi@gmail.com. Is that correct?
That's correct. We had a link open that closed, but we wanted to make sure that because we're talking about it tonight, that we are allowing anyone here that might know someone or if them themselves are actually interested. We want to make sure that we're giving that the space to still apply.
Awesome. Okay, so if you did not get your questions answered, we will try to get those answers to you guys in maybe the format of a Q&A email blast. We're still kind of thinking through the best way to get you guys the answers to your questions if they were not answered tonight, but I think that I got everyone. So for some reason, if I missed you, I apologize, and please let us know so that we can get your questions answered. All right.
Actually, I take it back. There are just several questions that just came in really late. Sorry.
Oh,
Like they just all jumped in. So I'm going to put them in our queue here at the bottom.
okay.
Bear with me. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the process of typing, it's okay. You still have time. Go ahead and get that question in. And then for those of you where typing may not be the best way to ask your question, we do acknowledge that for some people, a verbal question or comment is just far easier. So remember, you can always raise your hand or hit *9 on the phones if that's an easier mechanism. And hopefully, Melissa, you can see those other questions just came in.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So next question is becoming an AMCSI member the same as a board member? Would you want me to answer, or anybody else want to take a go at it?
Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, I'll be happy to. So no, it's not the same thing. Being a member, you pay for your membership, but being a board member is you have to apply for that and be accepted onto the board of directors, either in a member at large position or a different position that becomes open. We are going to have some joining opportunities in the near future, so please look or keep an eye out on our Facebook and Instagram pages when we get ready to announce those. And you're more than welcome to apply for those positions. But
the one thing I'll add to that, as members of AMCSI, you do have opportunities to get involved with the work. So you'll at times be asked to vote on certain things that are crucial to our priorities as a board. So you're certainly not a part of the board of directors per se, but you certainly have a seat at the table in terms of sharing your voice. And we're only really able to, I guess, acknowledge the voice and perspectives of our membership, right? So those are ultimately the people that we serve. So if you would like to join, we certainly would like to have you. Ultimately, we expect membership to really shoot up in the coming months, especially as we go into 2022 and we have conference actually in person. You probably remember that in order to attend conference, you must be a member. So oftentimes we see that rise quickly as we approach any in-person conference.
I would also just add that we are all on the board due-paying members. We are all invested in that financial piece, and we are members. And you have to be a member to be on the board, but it is not every member is on the board.
all right, last question. Can you say more about AMCSI's advocacy priorities?
I'm happy to attempt to answer this one. Anyone should jump in after me, though. In the last couple of weeks, we've been lucky enough to be connected to a member in our community that is tied to policymaking at the national level. So for the first time, we are given the opportunity to sort of have a seat at the table when it comes to these very crucial conversations happening in DC. So we are thrilled to, again, for the first time, really be considered as a group of people that can share the perspectives of those we represent when it comes to actually getting things done in Washington. So really excited for that opportunity. That, again, is the first time that we've really taken a dive into policy and sharing our voice from that lens. And we expect, as we hire an executive director, as we continue to sort of build out our strategic plan and ultimately execute that plan, to have someone come on board and take that over and only continue to expand.
Thank you. Anyone want to add anything to that? All right. Well, I think that I speak for the rest of the board of directors in saying thank you so much, you guys, for joining us today. This is going to wrap up our first day of the virtual conference. Please be sure to register to attend all the sessions this week. It's free and open to everyone.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to step it in here and officially put a bow on everything to close things out for the night. Although before I do that, I wanted to just echo what Melissa noted, that our sessions will be carrying on. So for those who have registered, we'll see you here tomorrow evening, same place. So the link and the call-in details are the same. And we'll be joined by Dr. Lauren Heyer and Dr. Reed Nichols. And I have seen their presentations. They're going to be awesome. So I hope that you all come back tomorrow for another great session. I will also remind everybody that registration is still open, so they are strongly encouraging everyone to sign up. Although we are live streaming, if you register, we can send you additional information and updates. So it's always great to officially sign up for the virtual conference to stay up to date. And with that, why am I going back and forth? I just wanted to say thank you. There we go. I wanted to thank every single person who joined us. I know we had a few people who were watching, or quite a few people watching online through social media. I know we had an amazing presentation from our board of directors, as well as our guest speaker, Charles and Aliha, who joined us earlier today to talk about her grant, or pardon me, her award and the work that she's going on. And I wish her tons of luck in her trials coming up here. And I want to thank all of you who joined us. At any given time, we had about 100 people on at various points in the Zoom session. So that's awesome for a board of directors meetings. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and officially close things out and just remind everyone that the recording will be posted on the AMCSI website shortly after the virtual conference is over. So if y'all want to send us a quick goodbye, good night message in the meeting chat, please go right ahead. I'm going to put on my closing cue music. And again, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all here tomorrow evening.
Thank you.